Bethany TV, and this is the Nutrition Spot. My name is Gifty Nakainga. I want to appreciate you wherever you are watching us from for choosing to watch Bethany TV and to watch the Nutrition Spot. Olwadero olunaku terubadde lulungi nnyo eri abantu abamu oba n'eggwanga lyonna okubanga ate tufiiriddwa omu ku Honourable Minister owa Dokolo District, Honourable Cecilia. So tusabira ab'enganda, abaana, emikwano n'eggwanga lyonna okutwaliza awamu Mukama okubagumya n'okubayisa mu kaseera akazibu ennyo. N'eri buli ssekinoomu afiiriddwa omwagalwa we oba ayina ekizibu kyonna ekimutuuseeko, tusaba Mukama nti akugumye era akuyise mu kaseera ate k'oli mu kuyitamu akazibu ennyo ennyo. Kigambibwa nti Honourable Minister Cecilia yabadde nga alina kansa ng'ate kye kyamugisiza mu bulamu bw'ensi eno. And today on the Nutrition Spot, we want to look at some of these conditions that really have caused many of us to die because maybe we've not gotten the treatment, or maybe because we did not prevent or even manage them properly. So tonight on the show, we're going to look at the impact of nutrition onto the health conditions, and we're going to put emphasis on the non-communicable diseases, that is diabetes, hypertension, the cancers, heart failure, and there's so many other non-communicable diseases. So if you're out there and you want to be a part of the show, the number is going to be running over your screen. That is 07850500765. You can call us or you can send us a WhatsApp message, but you can go also on our different social medias, which I'll be glad to communicate with you on the topic of discussion that we have tonight. I want also to remind you that on the 4th of February this particular year, 2024, it's going to be the World Cancer Day. We're still having the theme that is running, closing the cancer care gap, but this particular year on the 4th of February, it's going to mark the last campaign of the World Health Organization using the theme of close the cancer care gap. So it's going to be the last in this particular year. We will see what will come next year, but if you're out there and you didn't have any information on cancer, or you've never screened, you've never encouraged a loved one to go and screen for cancer, I think it's high time you really went into the hospital to screen for the different non-communicable diseases, and cancer should be your #1 priority and the others. So at this point of time, I want to welcome my guests in the studio that I have a medical doctor and a nutritionist. I'll start with a nutritionist that we have tonight, an expert, and she's none other than Kawaho Brenda Kabasomi, and she is a nutritionist. I was asking her, what are some of the things that you really like so much? Because people think medics are serious all the time. But surprisingly, one of the things she told me, she's like, I love purple. That purple, it's her, you know, it's her color. And she loves sweet potatoes. She loves sweet potatoes, and on top of that, she loves the sound of jazz music and the ocean, and on top of that, she's so much passionate about children, and that's why she is a Sunday school teacher. So if you look at her profile, that shows she's using a holistic approach. She's not only in health, but also, you know, she listens to music, she eats well, and all those things. And again, with us, we honored to have a medical doctor, a research specialist, and he's none other than Dr. Kanyeke Andrew Marvin, who is a medical doctor at Health Touch Medical Center, Kampala. And Dr. Kanyeke is an early career researcher with 3 years of research experience, with interest in implementation of research, focusing on integration of diabetes mellitus and hypertension management in HIV care. Like I said, today we're going to put emphasis on the non-communicable diseases, and I'm so glad that our experts are specializing in, you know, in those. Dr. Kanyeke is into our diabetes and hypertension, and our nutritionist, Brenda, she's into nutritionist as our area of specialty. So at this point of time, I'm just going to say you're so much welcome on the show. Brenda is so much welcome, and Dr. Andrew, you're so much welcome. Just a hi to our viewers, then we can get into the show tonight. I'll start with Brenda.
All right. Good evening, our viewers. How are you doing today? As Gift said, I'm Kahwa Brenda Kabasomi. I'm a nutritionist at St. Joseph Hospital, Wakiso, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you for hosting me again.
I'm glad that you came. Happy New Year to you. Dr. Andrew, you're so much welcome.
And thank you so much, Gift, for having me here, especially for this very important issue of nutrition in health. Good evening to all our viewers from everywhere you are seeing us from. Thank you so much for making health a very important emphasis and for being live with us here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I'm glad that you came, and to the viewers, we're so much appreciative of you being a part of this. And I believe by the time we end the show, you're going to learn a lot of things. Don't hesitate to send in a WhatsApp for any questions or even to call us in the studio. We're looking at the impact of nutrition on the different health conditions. But like I said, we're going to put emphasis onto the non-communicable diseases, that is hypertension, diabetes, cancers, and heart diseases. So we believe that nutrition plays a crucial role in the overall health, and we want to believe that proper nutrition can positively impact our lives in a positive way. So for starters, we want to break down the term nutrition and the health condition. You know, it's a new year. I don't want to assume that everyone knows what nutrition means and everyone knows what health conditions are. So I will start with Brenda. Make us understand what it is if we say nutrition.
All right, thank you. So nutrition is a process. It's not a one-time thing when you're eating. No, nutrition starts even from the garden, how you're farming, are using the correct farming practices. Then it comes to your food. How is your plate? Then afterwards, you're taking in food. Are you chewing well? Do you have problems with your teeth? All that entails in nutrition. After that, the food goes into the body. The body goes ahead to digest the food. That's all nutrition. The body goes ahead to remove the nutrients and supply them to the different body parts. That's all nutrition. Okay?
Okay.
So nutrition is not when you're eating. No, nutrition is a wide scope of whatever you're taking in at a certain moment.
Kati babadde bagamba nti abasawo batugambye tufeeyo ku nutrition yaffe nga tutulira plate yokka. It's not enough.
It's not enough. Tulina okulaba gundi mu nnimiro zaffe. Essowaani zaffe tukula essowaani eriko mmere kika ki, otaddeko gundi miti, gundi ennyama yokka ogisiise, bw'ogiridde ogigayiza bulungi, ebyo byonna biri mu nutrition. N'okugaya mwebiri.
Okay, I'll go to Dr. Andrew. I'll be saying the impact of nutrition on health conditions. So first make us understand what actually health is and then the health conditions.
Thank you so much, Gift, for this opportunity. When we talk about health, still we take an holistic approach of a state of well-being, physically, mentally, and psychologically. And to put it into the context of nutrition, it becomes very relevant, especially at this time when we are seeing a transition in the kind of diseases that are taxing our health, from a shift from the infectious diseases, though we still have a lot of them and we are still grappling with them, but we are seeing a very increasing burden of the non-communicable diseases. Things like hypertension, diabetes, cancer, and these are all lifestyle diseases, diseases of choice. What I mean is, you know, it always depends on what we choose, how we choose to live, what we choose to eat, how we choose to eat it, that is affecting us to end up with such diseases. Therefore, this is really a very, very important topic, and one that people are not very much aware of, just like they are not very much aware of these diseases, the non-communicable diseases. Therefore, as we delve into this deeper and deeper to understand how nutrition affects the health, how it brings about these diseases, it is very important that we are very keen so that we take good choices and we don't end up with these diseases. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. And I would say that let your thy food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food. So now, sure. Let's start by understand, like I said, we're going to concentrate on the non-communicable diseases. And I think I was telling Brenda that many of us think that if we say heart diseases, we're only looking at heart failure, yeah? But with our expert in the studio, can you make us understand what heart diseases are and what are some of those heart conditions that we should really focus onto?
Thank you so much. Actually, in the medical world, we use the term cardiovascular diseases. Those are two terms. Cardio is to do with the heart, and vascular is to do with the vessels, all those pipes through which the blood flows, and that is all one system. And just to let us know that among all these non-communicable diseases, including cancer and all that wide scope, cardiovascular diseases take the lion's share of those that cause the most mortality or cause the most death around the world. And this is not only in the developed world, but it is actually even much more here in the developing country. But unfortunately, most of this is unraveled. And when we talk about these diseases, the cardiovascular diseases, we mean diseases like stroke, or what we call a cardiovascular accident, things like a heart attack in simple terms, if I'm to term it, which can come as a sudden thing, because most of the people actually get to know that, oh, I think they had high blood pressure or they had diabetes when it is too late. There are other things like those that affect the microvasculature or the small vessels, and can include things like the diseases that affect the kidney, the diseases that affect the eyes. Almost every other organ of the body is supplied by the blood vessels. So when you are talking about these cardiovascular diseases that are related to the heart and the blood vessels, almost all organs entail there, but most notorious are the stroke, the heart attacks, and the high blood pressure, or what we call hypertension.
The stroke, the heart attack, and then the high blood pressure.
pressure.
So I was very intentional asking Brenda a question that what it is about nutrition, and then she said that nutrition is not only what is on your plate, but it is what you're eating, how you eat, and how the food
even
is
your
also.
Choices.
Even your choices, nengeri omubiri gwe gwawulamu ezo nutrients okuzitwala wezina okukola. So now that he's mentioning that we have the cardiovascular diseases, the heart, and then the vascular, where we go into the blood vessels and all that. Talk to us about the impact of nutrition on that entire body system.
All right, thank you so much, Gift. So when you talk about impact, it means that this is going to be seen after a long while. And for impact to happen, there is something that's supposed to happen before. And in the case of impact of nutrition, there is impact of poor nutrition and impact of good nutrition. So today I'm just going to talk about impact of poor nutrition. As we grow, unless you're already predisposed to these cardiovascular diseases, you realize that we shall start choosing these processed foods rather than eating fruits and vegetables as our snacks, you get? And yet, these processed foods contain sodium. When you talk about sodium, many people will put it together with salt, sodium and salt, but salt is sodium chloride, it's not sodium. We tend to neglect the foods that contain high sodium, which tend to increase our blood pressure, and neglect potassium-rich foods, you get? So if our diet is like that before, realize that later on in our lives, our blood pressures will be high, and we won't have the proper management of those blood pressures, you get? So that's the impact of nutrition on such a health condition. And if your nutrition is good before, and you're having good choices, just like I told you how nutrition is, you're having good choices, realize that you won't meet these hypertensions later on in life. And even though you already have the hypertension, right now I'm encouraging you to always read on the nutrition labels, the sodium-rich foods. Try to avoid those ones. Tend to buy broccoli, cooked spinach, sweet potatoes, my favorite. I can't fail to talk about it. So yes, that's the impact of nutrition on such diseases. And also these fry okusiika. Tusiika nnyo. Ate ng'emibiri gyaffe gituuse ku level egiproducinga waliwo chemical kale kanjite chemical mubiri bagiyita cholesterol. Kati the more we increase the cholesterol in our intake, our bodies will fail to assimilate it or to use it, and instead it will keep it on the heart, to keep it in the vessels. You get kanetandika okufuna ati omutima gunnuma musawo omutima gunnuma musawo kanakala katandisa okufuuka ka black omusayi tegutuukayo. So that's the impact of nutrition on such conditions.
Thank you so much, Brenda. We appreciate naye okuva Brenda byayogedde. I think, I don't know, like I said, I feel like we can handle so much. Naye tobulete bujja kutuganya naye kye tugenda okusobola okwogerako ekyo kino twagala abalabi bakitegeere bulungi nnyo nti enkyasobokera nagenda mu ddwaliro ng'amaze okuyiga ekituufu. So like if you say that omuntu asome labels eziri ku bintu bye bagula alabe sodium intake ali mu kyenkanawa. I want to go to Dr. Andrew. Lwaki tuteeka emphasis ku sodium omuntu gwayingiza mu mubiri era wa bulabe ki oba wa mugaso ki mu mibiri gyaffe?
Thank you so much, Gift. So when we talk about sodium, it is like the prime electrolyte or the big dog when you are talking about the electrolytes over omunyo or guli mubiri. Whenever we get munyo, actually it's not only the sodium, there are a lot of other salts, potassium, chloride and all that, but the sodium is the big gun here because it regulates the body's blood pressure. It determines and dictates how much fluid will be within the vessels. It also determines and runs the electric activity of the body. But to put emphasis on the blood volume, when you have sodium within your blood vessels, it attracts the water from the tissues into the blood, so that it can now flow through the kidneys and the body takes out the excess it doesn't want and remains with what it can use. And the kidneys help us to regulate that sodium so that we just have enough to keep our blood pressures within the normal range. But when the sodium becomes too much, that means we are going to overburden our blood vessels with a huge volume of blood. And on top of that, it is also going to start altering the vasculature, the muscles of the vessels, those muscles within the vessels, make them a little more stiff with more fluid in there. So the volume is high, the walls are not as flexible as they should be. So that's how we end up with having high blood pressure. So we should not be having a lot of salts or sodium in our body in excess of what we don't want, because it is going to increase the blood volume, and in the long run it's also going to affect the blood vessels, and we are going to end up with blood pressure. There are a lot of other intricate things that go into that process of how the sodium is going to disrupt the blood vessels and all that. But what we should know is that in the end, if we have a lot of sodium into our bodies, it is going to cause us high blood pressure, and then it will spark off a cascade of things. The high blood pressure is going to now start destroying our kidneys that again are supposed to regulate the sodium. So now the sodium will continue to become more, and it becomes like a vicious cycle. Okay. One thing leading to the other and coming back in loop like that. And that's how we are going to end up with this blood pressure. But also just to add on a little on what Brenda talked about, the refined food. You know, some of these refined foods, they are not only notorious for the sodium, but in that process of refining them, they lose a lot of things that we actually need, like the fiber and the nutrients. So in the end, they become very high calorie, but they are low on nutrient. So they give us
calories, they're empty.
Yes, empty calories.
They give us a lot of you know, when you take them, the sugars rise very fast, and yet you are not getting a lot of nutrients from it. So that very much increase in the sugar is going to spark off insulin to increase and then lowers the sugar. So what is going to happen is that you are going to start binging on them because you are going to have episodes of continuous hunger and craving. You eat, the sugar rises so fast, then the body produces insulin, lowers it, and then you take again.
So you crave again.
Yeah, so you keep eating, and in the end, this excess of what you are taking is being turned into fat and stored. So this is how you are going to accumulate weight, and then the weight is going to bring other problems of diabetes, because these fats are going to produce bad chemicals that are going to disrupt our sugars, and then the sugars are also going to disrupt other systems. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kanyike. To those that have just joined us, this is the Nutrition Spot, and we are looking at the impact of nutrition onto the different health conditions. We started breaking down what heart diseases are, and we're trying to understand why is it important for you to limit your salt intake, because we've been told that it has a lot of sodium that sometimes people are taking a lot of sodium that is not needed for their bodies. And I want there was something that a nutritionist said, and that was about the cholesterol levels, that sometimes if they are too high, they would limit the flow of blood in our bodies. So doctor, make us understand what could be the impact of cholesterol in someone's body, and how can it be detected that it's high or it's low? Okay,
thank you so much. You know, when you use some of these terms like cholesterol and all that, I think it seems like something very abstract that you know, some people may think, I don't need to understand that, should be for the doctors. Like you said, but they are really very important things. And when we are talking about cholesterol, we mean amasavu gomubiri. But as most of you may realize, when you go to the hospital, you hear the doctors telling you amasavu amarungi, amasavu amari. Yeah, so we have cholesterol that we don't want, which we would call the bad cholesterol, because of one thing, that it clogs within the body, especially within the linings of the blood vessels. And actually I want to marry that with saturated fats, which is a lot in these refined things that we eat. These saturated fats are especially those things, those oils that are solid at room temperature. Things, I'm not going to talk about products of things that are in the market, but anything that is fat but becomes solid at room temperature, that is saturated fat, and it is not good. The same thing it is doing here, it's the same thing that's going to happen when it gets into...
What do you mean that solid but...
When at room temperature, when it's cold, it is solid.
It becomes liquid.
Tugenda kusooka tuwummulemu nga bwe tulowooza bye tulina mu kiyungu oba byekwata tubitadde ku muliro oba. So we're going to get into a very quick short break, so just don't go anywhere. Prepare your questions. When we come back from the break, we're going to be answering your questions on the impact of nutrition on health conditions. For you, we're looking at the impact of nutrition onto the different health conditions, and we said that let thy food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food. And last week we were emphasizing the health-seeking character. We were encouraging you to always go to the hospital and get thorough checkup or get the professional help that you need. You do not have to use Google. So with my experts in the studio, I have a nutritionist, that is Kahwa Brenda Kabasomi, and also our medical doctor, Dr. Kanyike Andrew Marvin. We're going to go deeper into a topic of discussion. But the number is going to be over the screen. I want also to remind you that there is Excel Junior School, a child given good foundation to study. They say that leads to their bright future. And if you're a parent, there is something new in the Zanta town, that is in Ndeje, and that is the Excel Junior School, which offers education from nursery to P7, and also they do have trained teachers, they have nutritionists, because they eat a balanced diet. They know how they know how to feed their children. So if you want your child to be fed well, if you want to curb, if you want to prevent the different health conditions that come up because we do not eat well, this is the school for you. From nursery to P7, omwana omulisa obulungi mwegi emyaka, trust me, ne bw'anaakula ajja kuba ategeera bulungi, ajjukira bulungi. The cognitive function is going to be intact. Their physical health is going to be intact. Their emotional side, everything is going to be intact. So Excel Junior School is the school for you, to all the parents. But better think about it. But anyway, let's look at the impact of nutrition onto the different health conditions. When we were going into the break, doctor was trying to explain to us about the different fats, the good and the bad, the saturated and the non-saturated fats, and he was telling us that the saturated fats are really not good. Natugamba wokwata no teka wali ne kinyogoga ne kyekwata, then there is a problem. So back to you, doctor.
Yeah, thank you, Gift. So as I was saying, when these fats get into the body, they are going to accumulate within the body. And we have that bad fat that we don't have. So most of these refined foods that are saturated, a lot of the animal proteins like the meat, especially the very fatty meat, they are going to raise that bad fat, which we call LDL, in our body. But most of it actually is deposited around the abdomen. Here you see those men with big bellies that we attach to good health and money and being wealthy. And when it accumulates around your fat, when it accumulates around your belly, it starts to produce very bad chemicals. One of it we call resistin, and it's going to cause insulin resistance. Yes. Yes. That hormone called insulin is the one that regulates our sugar. That I've taken in food, there's a lot of sugar, it cuts it back to the normal range. Now I have very little sugar, you know, it goes down and another one acts on it to raise a bit up. So when you have a lot of that belly fat, the visceral fat, it is going to lead you into diabetes mellitus. But also, this bad fat clogs around the inside of the blood vessels. So it ends up reducing the caliber over omuwatwa gwa blood vessel. And the implication of that is we are going to have reduced blood flow to this particular part where the blood supply has been reduced. But also, these vessels are made in a way that they are supposed to be very smooth so that the blood can flow very easily without sticking on the walls of these blood vessels. But when you have a lot of these fats, clogged within these blood vessels, then the blood cells are also going to start sticking onto these fats. And what ends up is the blood continues sticking, and you get a clot. So that's how things like stroke come about. Akasuwa mu bwongo kezibye nafuna stroke. Because there are a lot of fats, the blood cells within the blood are sticking to the fat. These people who get heart attacks, because the heart has started getting little blood. Now that happens as the blood vessel narrows. And when it eventually narrows and closes, then you are going to get what we call a heart attack. That part of the wall is going to cut off the supply, it dies off, it becomes wounded, and it's not going to be pumping enough blood as it should pump. So you end up with a heart attack, you end up with stroke. When the blood supply reduces to the kidneys, you are going to end up with kidney injury, kidney failure, and then you go to dialysis. So you see that it begins with the choice of the food you are taking, which is not good. It builds fat in your body. That fat starts to disrupt your sugar levels. It starts to disrupt your blood vessels, and now the pressure rises, the blood vessels start to blow, and then you end up with diabetes, you end up with hypertension, you start getting stroke, kidney disease, and that's why you always see that these people always have a lot of things. obulwadde bwasazeewo okukwata gwe wekka olina pressure olina sukaali olina stroke ensigo ndwadde but the center stage of all of it is just one thing that is causing all these different problems, and trust me, when you don't control it, you are definitely going to have them.
Okay, I want us to have Brenda tell us bidobyo nomusawo byayogedde suubira tusobola okubi preventing, yeah, because as Beth and TV actually we believe that prevention is better than cure. So omuntu yenna nzikiriza nti wali abatulaba essaawa eno ng'alina sukaali, alina pressure, alina oba stroke, whatever conditions they are. But I believe there is a way their lifespan can be, you know, increased. Ng'atandise okola ebintu mu butuufu bwabyo. Tuyinza obuta reversinga byabaawo, but I believe we can do better we tuba tutandikidde. So if that person is out there, what are some of the things you can ask them to start concentrating on nutrition-wise?
So, thank you so much, Gift. Kati byatugenda concentratingako okusinga byebibala n'enva endiibwa, all fruits and vegetables. Abasobodde okugenda mu malwaliro awali nutritionist, and I encourage you to go to the hospitals and seek that professional help. Your plate is supposed to be half fruits and vegetables. Buli lwolya. Kati eri half endala mwoteeka carbohydrates emiceere n'enva z'oliddeko that day. Okitegedde? Ola mu nutrition tugamba there is no good or bad food. Neoba ng'ofunye health condition, the beauty is regulating. That's why you need a professional nutritionist. You just need to regulate. Nze sigenda kujja ku nyama, naye ngenda kugamba girye maybe ku Sunday oba ku Friday. Bwe nkugamba olye enkoko, ngenda kugamba ogirye once a week, naye eddiba ly'enkoko eryo tolirya kubanga lirimu amasavu nga Dr. bwagambye. Kati ebijanjaalo, peas, all those gundi ebiva mu plants.
Let me take you back. Wogamba enkoko eddiba alijjeko. Waliwo agambye nti lyerisinga omuwoomera. Mbu ye kyayagala ku nkoko. And I think some time back someone was telling me of a lady bwe bagamba nti va ku bintu nno ebiwooma kubanga byongeza sukaali wo, va ku bintu ebyo birina sukaali. N'agamba nze nina erinnya eriwooma, I have a sweet tooth, yeah? Nti bwe buba buwoomire kanfa obuwoomi okusinga, you know, like it was kind of a joke naye yali serious. So if someone tells you nti ate kiri bakyonyijjako nze kyensinga okwagala, and we have so many people like that with that kind of perception in our communities.
That eddiba lisinga okuwooma.
Yinza obutaba na ddiba naye oli akugamba nze njagala nnyo chocolate kati nkole ki? Nze njagala anything.
Kati wetufuna ng'eyo scenario, sigenda kugamba nti no giveeko immediately, nedda. Obanga oli muli wa chocolate buli lunaku, nja kugamba tandika okuskipingamu ng'ennaku 2. Nga bwe tulaba obulamu bwo bwe improving kubanga ekiriwo at that moment moyo condition sukaali mubi, at that moment moyo condition amasavu ago mabi. Kati twagala okwongezaayo obulamu bwo, onyumirwe obulamu, ekitegeera like improving your quality of life and length of life. So tutuula n'omuntu oyo ne tuteesa not kujjako ne regulating.
So it's a gradual process.
It's a gradual process. Kiringa omuntu ali addicted to alcohol. That's just an example. Nga kugamba nze buli nnaku nina okunywa ecupa. Kati nga kugamba kati tukolewe tuti ecupa ozinywa ddi? Tuyinza oginywa ku Monday ne Friday, tuyinza okutandika bwe tutyo nga we reducing.
Oba ne tunywa ecupa emu week namba.
Ekyo kiza n'omulwaza. Tiyinza omulwaza. So we walk gradually. Si kujjako tino tokikolako ng'ojja kwekweka obirye ate okomewo mu ddwaliro ate musawo omutima ate okitegeera. So we just work together as we regulate the food at hand. As simple as that.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Dr. Andrew, should we say, ngenda kwogera, because of the conditions that we are looking at, omuli diabetes, hypertension, cancer, those different heart diseases, tulabye nti waliwo abayingidde mu system, I would call it manipulation, like manipulating abalwadde nti nina kana akasobola okugyawo oyo sukaali, bw'onywa ekidomola bwekiti, bw'onywa gana amazzi, bw'onywa kino. So from the medical perspective, should we say that all those other liquids, nywa gana amazzi, kola kino, nywa bino ebikola, are they working on those conditions? Because people have gotten stuck into that and they have not gotten into the hospitals.
Thank you so much, Gift. It is always a controversy when you bring the debate of herbal medicine versus the conventional medicine that we use in the hospital. But actually, I've been a researcher in production of herbal medication during the COVID-19. And I know very well that even the conventional medicine that we use in the hospital is derived from these trees and plants. And we used to go to those traditionalists, yeah, to seek their knowledge. Which plant do you give people for diabetes? But when we get to know the plant, then we get to further research and find out what is the active molecule in this plant. Because there are a lot of other unnecessary things that come with it, which our friends, the herbalists, don't do. So you have these budomola and the herbals that have a lot of concoction of things. Yes, sometimes they may have the active molecule that may reduce your sugar, but they have a lot of other unnecessary things that are going to start becoming problematic to your kidney, to your liver, and in the end, not even benefit reducing your blood sugar or the diabetes. So this is where I always tell my patients to seek professional advice and follow the advice of the doctor. And I always tell them that diabetes, hypertension is a lifestyle disease. You can live 80 years with diabetes normally and you even forget that I am diabetic, I'm hypertensive, so long as you follow. It is a game. Take your medications, physical exercise, nutrition. All those three things have to move along. One of them can't help you. Even if you take your medicine religiously, without the exercise, without the nutrition bit, you are not going to get fine. So leave these herbal medications, they are not yet very well researched and refined. So I wouldn't advise people to choose this over the conventional medicine. You know, you start a patient on one drug and you're like, if you take this drug well, actually we may even reduce the dose. We shall not increase. But afterwards, they come back and you find that actually you're not making progress. When you investigate deep and deep, they'll tell you, now, Musao, this person came, attend Danganari Nalifa Koko, attend Enzidako, like Kukadomola. We will always find out because your sugars are always going to start spiking and the condition deteriorating. So there is no way we shall not realize that you've been using the herbal things, and it even becomes dangerous when you start mixing them up with this other conventional medicine. So herbal medicine is not bad, but I think we should be encouraging herbalists to partner with scientists so that they refine their products because they are very good and make a fine thing that is good that may even help us change, you know, the stage and the treatment of these diseases, and we get better medication and all that than giving people concoctions. And what is bad is that sometimes these people, the herbalists, actually get again this conventional medicine. What? So in all ways, he knows but some people get again the conventional medicine, never got them in the concoction. So just do the physical exercise, take the nutritional advice, and take your drug, you will live a very good life, because these are non-terminal diseases.
You can live with it.
Yeah, you can live with it
positively.
very normally, and you will not have any ailment. But if you don't take the professional advice, nebagamba nti ennyama gikendezeeko, bw'oba olya enkoko oluli bato olulya gwe n'ogamba nti ha. I had a mukadde who said when they brought her to hospitals, the sons told us actually all she takes is tea. Like she can take tea 8 times a day. And here she was diabetic, and we on a ward round, and we tell this mama that sukari genda muvaako n'agaana awo nja kufa tekigenda kusoboka kubanga kacyayi nakanywa ntya nga temuli sukari, soda muveeko nti ate mba sinywedde cyayi nywa soda kati mwagala nfe. So you get it is really a very hard journey, but like Brenda said, it is not a once-off thing. That biveeko nobikatingako ate abasawo batugamba okuva ku nyama nebo bagirya batugamba okuva like it is your life, and if I give you the advice and you don't want to take it, you don't want to tone it down, then in the end it's you to suffer.
Wow. I would say from that very point that your body is a temple, but only if you treat it as one. So Maria my body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. Yeah, your body is the temple, but only if you treat it as a temple. And I would say that a health outside there, it will start with from inside. Eventually to manifest on the outside. Brenda Shatugamba that it really takes time. Oyinza okulya obubinga bw'oyagala kati naye 10 years down the road ngoga yiyi naye nga ate mbadde kino siakikola naye nga wasiga ensigo like 10 years ago. So to fail nnyo on the seeds that we saw mufe byetweteekamu. So don't be easy to go in for fast. Byetugamba I want a fast food. Don't be so much quick to go in for easy foods. Don't be so easy to go in for the fake products. So anyway, as we wind up our topic of discussion today, I want to go to our Dr. Andrew. I strongly believe that we still have many people that are having these non-communicable diseases, and each and every day the numbers are increasing. It's just because we do not get chance to get the different statistics from the different hospitals of how many clients or patients that have been diagnosed with either diabetes, hypertension, cancer, and the different heart conditions. But as a professional, what would be that message that you would want to pass on to the community, the people that are watching Bethan TV, in regards to prevention of the non-communicable diseases?
Thank you so much, Gift. Indeed, our statistics are not the best, but what I can tell the viewers out there is that from the little we know is that at least 1 in every 4 Ugandan is hypertensive, has high blood pressure. But unfortunately, on the flip side, every 3 in 4 of those who have don't know that they have high blood pressure. And the rates of high blood sugar we have or diabetes are expected to increase by 166% in the next 10 years if nothing is done about this. So what I'm drawing from these statistics is that the magnitude of the problem is big, but it is unraveled. Why? Because we are ignorant about these diseases. We don't visit the hospital to check, and these are insidious diseases. Zijja mpola mpola. You take your choices right from adolescence, byolya, embeera gye weeyisamu, and they come to affect you later in life. So let's seek information. We are in an information era. Information is there on Google and all that, but most importantly, let's visit the hospitals and check on your wellness. People have cars and they are very stringent and strict on the car service, emmotoka eno etambula kilomita 15 bwe ziwera bwe ziti ng'ali wa kiseka ewa makanika emmotoka yange gikole service, but we always forget to do service for our bodies. Some of us don't know, have never known what our blood pressures are. They have never known what my sugar levels are. So we should inculcate this culture of continuous monitoring and well-being into our normal lifestyle. At least for a normal person, if you don't have history of hypertension and diabetes mellitus in your family, you should check your blood pressure at least once a year. Check on your blood sugar at least once a year. But if you know that you have history of hypertension and diabetes in your family, jaja afa stroke, tata ina pressure, mama ina sukari, you are at a very high risk of these diseases. So check at least every other 6 months. So visit these facilities, visit these medical centers, and get check-up. And at this point, I would like to maybe inform our viewers that we welcome you to Hilltosh Medical Center, just in Mengo, opposite Bulange. We have packages of all these wellness things, checking your diabetes, hypertension, and all that.
Thank you so much, Brenda. Just stand a minute.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, viewers, for watching. All I'm going to encourage you, I'm just going to re-echo what Dr. Kanyika said. Please visit our hospitals. We are there waiting for you to give you professional help, to explain to you what you found on Google. Muso abangambye mvire ddala kunvendibwa kubanga kireta kino. Mujje mutubuuze tuli wano okubaddamu.
Thank you so much. Like we are said, let's get hold of that health-seeking character. I want to encourage you that if you're a parent and you're looking for a school to take your children, your precious children, Excel Junior School is the school for you. It's located in Zanta town in Deje, and it offers education from nursery to P7. It has well-trained teachers, good amenities, pupils eat a balanced diet, and be assured of a bright future when your child goes to Excel Junior School. For more information, you can call them on 0703958700. My name is Gift Nakayinga. Till next Thursday, have a good night.